Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maureen Williams, and I'm with Four Seasons Care Navigation Services here in Western North Carolina. And we are delighted that you have chosen to join us for this very special event, Harnessing Tech to Connect. This is a particular outreach among several organizations, and we are just honored to share information with you today. And on our first session today, we have a panel of wonderful people with wonderful information who want to share with you great ways to use technology to connect as caregivers and on behalf of your loved ones. And so let's just get started, please. The first person I would love to have, yes, we're going to have two wonderful ladies join us. They're both going to graduate from the University of North Carolina in Asheville this semester in 3.5 weeks. We have Victoria Moore joining us, who is graduating with a major in psychology. And we have Miranda Poe, who is also joining us, and her major is health and wellness promotion, along with a minor in Spanish. So these two ladies have a wonderful a bit of information to share with you about the social bridging program. It's a very exciting initiative. So Miranda and Victoria, please share with us.
Hi, I am Victoria, and I am a wellness volunteer at the Social Bridging Project. Miranda.
Hi, I'm also a volunteer with the Social Bridging Project, and the project is very new. It started just this semester out of an increased need to connect with people that are even more isolated than they might normally be. So we're making calls to people throughout Western North Carolina with the intention of getting people that social connection that has really been lacking since these stay-at-home orders have happened, especially for older people who are more at risk. And we know that isolation has really serious health effects loneliness has really serious health effects on mental health. So the aim of this project is to help ease that just a little bit during this time.
We give resources if you need it, technology help if you need it, or even just someone to talk to or listen to you. We are not medical professionals or counselors, so we can't give you medical advice or counseling. So, yeah.
Wonderful. And you can see on the screen, for those of you who are viewing, how to get more information about the Social Bridging Project. And I wondered if either of you would like to share a success story or an encounter that you've had that you found to be meaningful for bridging with our elders socially.
Do you want to go?
Go ahead.
Either way.
Yeah. So one success story that I have is I had one woman that I was talking to who needed a lot of help with learning how to use Facebook and to send text messages. And she just lives with her husband, who is recently diagnosed with dementia. So she was asking for that support and wanting someone to come to her house and help her because she really needed that one-on-one in-person help. And I was able to find someone in the community that does that. And that's her part-time job. So I was able to connect them, and she was able to go help her out and help her learn how to use Facebook and text people. So yeah, that's one success story. How about you?
That's fabulous. Love that. And Victoria, you have a story too?
Yes. So I have one client that I talk to regularly. At the beginning, we I helped her navigate how to send a text message and how to send an email. And she's currently in a class at a community college to learn more. And we just talk nowadays. But it's really great that I was able to help her, send those emails and those texts that she needs. So
that's wonderful. Wonderful. So Victoria, Miranda, if people want to know more information about the Social Bridge Project, they can just merely email this email or call this number on the screen, correct? If they want to be a volunteer or a recipient or something else, correct? Fabulous program. Thank you. This is thrilling to have this right here. And is this confined to just one of the counties in Western North Carolina, or what's the scope?
I think it's all of Western North Carolina. So
Okay.
yeah, we're definitely looking for more participants right now. So just trying to get the word out.
Well, this is a fabulous program and meeting a true need. Thank you, Victoria and Miranda. We're going to hear from each of them again shortly about some other things that we can learn from harnessing technology. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're joined by Kim Dickens, who's with the AARP, and she's a community volunteer with AARP, and her focus is on issues that our family caregivers face, with an especial emphasis on self-care. And so Kim is going to talk with us about Zoom. So Kim, we're ready to learn.
Thanks, Maureen, and welcome everyone today. We're going to explore the world of Zoom and all its possibilities for social connection. First, I'm going to show you how to download Zoom and then how to create a meeting. Now, if you already have an account with Zoom, just sort of bear with us, because then we're going to get to the really fun part where we discuss some great ways that you can use Zoom to get in on existing meetings or some ideas for creating your own cool Zoom meetings. So first off, if you only plan to join meetings where you are receiving the link to join by an email or a text, you don't need to download Zoom. Just tap on that link with your cursor with your finger and follow the prompts. However, if you want to create your own Zoom meetings, you'll need to create an account. Zoom offers their basic plan that gives you free meetings for a 40-minute maximum for anywhere from 3 to 100 people. If you want to have unlimited time for your meetings for 3 or more, you'll want to sign up for a pro account, which is either $14.99 a month or $149.90 a year. So to open an account, whether it's going to be basic or pro, I am now going to share my screen. And I am going to share this, and I'm going to type up in my little address box, www.zoom.us. And here we see we're in the Zoom main screen. And if you go over to the right here, hopefully you can see my cursor, and you go all the way down to the bottom to this black bar, you'll see at the very top of the second column the word download. And this will take us to the download page. All you have to do is click that. And once you've done that, you'll see a prompt to sign up for Zoom. If it's the first time you've ever opened Zoom, you'll probably see that they have a way to download right from the front page, and that will take you to the same place. If you're opting for a pro account, you'll be prompted to pay by credit card or PayPal. Your account sign will be your Zoom. So since I have an account, I'm going to go back here to the main page. I'm going to scroll back up here, and I'm going to go to my account. And here you'll see your profile page. One important thing to notice in your profile page is if you scroll down here, you'll see the time zone. Make sure that you're in the correct time zone, which for those of us in North Carolina is the Eastern time zone. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to schedule a meeting. Here we go. And the first thing we want to do is have a title for our meeting, because this is what you're going to tell your friends and family that you're inviting, that you're talking about. So let's have something really simple to talk about. How about like world peace? I normally don't enter a description, but if you feel that your title isn't enough to get them all interested, you might want to have some other things. So let's say all the answers given here. I know that's going to bring all my friends and family to the meeting. If I can spell here. Now we're going to scroll down a little bit and you will see the time. The date comes out as today's date, but we can go to our calendar and we can choose another date in November, December, or all the way out to next year, but I'm going to schedule my meeting for Wednesday the 18th. Now I go to my time. If you bring your cursor to the side, you get a little drop down, and I can bring that. We're going to have it at 10 in the morning. But here's where you can get tripped up. Make sure you set this to AM or PM. The duration of your meeting can be 1 hour or up to 6 hours. Now, if you have a basic account, remember you only get 40 minutes free, so it doesn't matter what you put in here. When you get to about 35 minutes in your meeting, you'll see a little prompt at the top of the screen starting to warn you about how much time you have left. If you've got a pro account, you can choose your time, and you can even go to 15-minute increments. Again, make sure you're in the Eastern time zone or whatever is the correct time. If it's a recurring meeting, like if I want to have it for 3 days in a row or 5 weeks in a row or several months in a row, I can choose here. And I'm going to choose that it's going to be weekly. I'm going to have it repeat every single week. And here you see it's already checked Wednesday because that's what I had in my drop-down box. Now, if I check here, I can have it up to 7 occurrences. That's the maximum. But I think I'm just going to have it for 3 weeks. And then it will go ahead and start the meeting. Now, registration, it's not required if you're just inviting family and friends. That's mostly for organizations that want to make sure they know who's getting into the meeting. For your security, I always check passcode, but don't worry about those numbers because they're going to be embedded in the link that you get when you send your invitation. And I always check waiting room. That's going to allow me to open my meeting, and I will be able to admit each person by putting my finger up at the top and saying admit. So I get Mary Jo and Tommy Jones, but I don't get any nefarious folks that I didn't want. Maybe you've heard about Zoom bombers. Here in video, I like to keep both of my buttons on off. So just in case when our participants enter and they want to adjust their hair or get the spinach out of their teeth, they've got a moment and they can control their own video. On audio, I like to say both, so people can call in by telephone or they can be on their computer. And here's some other options that you can use. Again, I don't like to allow the participants to join anytime. I like to let them to go into the meeting. I let them to control their own mute. So these are other things that you can choose. The most important thing is after you've done all this hard work is hit save, because if you don't hit save, you won't have a meeting. And there you go. Now what you can do is scroll down and you'll see that you have a link right here for your meeting. You can copy and paste that, or you can actually get the full invitation here and it will show you what you can put in your email to your friends and family. So now that you see how easy it is to set up a Zoom meeting, I'm going to stop sharing here. And Rebecca, you're going to allow me to talk about a few slides. So here's some of the fun stuff that you can think about when you want to do some Zoom meetings. We all know what family and friend gets-togethers are. And think about things like birthday, anniversary parties, holiday celebrations. Once you've been on Zoom for a while, you'll get a good idea about what your space size is. So you can put little tables around you with decorations. Decorate your face and hair, make it fun. In community volunteering, you might want to get together some neighbors to have a neighborhood walk and pick up trash, or have a meeting to discuss some issues that are happening in your community. We'll talk a lot about game night in a few minutes, but boy, there's some fun possibilities there. And remember, it's not just your face that shows in your Zoom call. It can show your hands. So if you want to have a demonstration class, like a cooking class or an art class, all you have to do is turn your camera in your laptop towards your hands and you can slice up all those vegetables and add those great spices. Same thing with art, an easel, painting, sculpture, a music jam session. Get together with some of those friends from college and strum on the guitars and beat on the drums, and business meetings. How about the next slide? Here's some ideas for Zoom meetings that already exist that you might want to consider joining. Book groups. If you're here in the Buncombe County area, you might go to Buncombe County Library, and you'll find that most of the library locations have an existing book group. All you have to do is find out what the book is, get it in any way you want, and you're all set to share with like-minded people. And educational classes, seminars, and workshops. If you're getting emails from AARP or from Land of Sky, Area Agency on Aging, Council on Aging, they are regularly sending out links to all kinds of classes, seminars, and workshops. Support groups. I'm going to highly recommend this wonderful guide that I'm holding in the camera. It is the Caregiver Resource Directory that our Area Agency on Aging puts out. And in the book, there's a list of all the support groups on the area, whether it is for dementia, for Parkinson's, for brain injury. It'll list the phone numbers. You'll probably need to call them to see what they're doing for time on Zoom, but I know a number of them are doing Zoom. You can also go into your browser and put in Zoom, put the support group you're looking for and your city or town, and it will probably bring up ideas. You can go to the Alzheimer's Association website for support groups there. Exercise classes. There is no end to the amount of exercise classes you can get involved in. I do yoga twice a week with my daughter-in-law's class. She taught at Black Mountain Yoga, and I know that many of the other yoga organizations here in Asheville are offering Zoom classes. I know that our Area Agency on Aging is now offering Tai Chi. See them about signing up for that. Also, cardio classes, stretch classes, senior strength. Just type in Zoom, the kind of class you're thinking about in your area, and you'll get choices. And lastly, telehealth. If you haven't yet talked to your doctor online, you might consider it. It's great for small maladies and also even for that annual health check. You can always run into your doctor and get your blood taken so you can get out of there quick, and then schedule a meeting to talk about the results with your doctor. And would you give me the last slide there, Rebecca? And here's the things that will be really fun. How do you play some games with friends and family here during all the social isolation? The idea behind most of these games is that you set up your Zoom account, and then you go to another link once everyone's on, and you go to one of these places. My bingo cards will allow you to actually send electronic bingo cards to your friends and family, and it has a computer caller. Categories will actually choose categories for you and the letter, so all of you can start listing by time all the great words that fall into that category. If you have a group that you don't know real well, Trivia Generator is a great idea. It's going to bring up trivia questions, and it's a great way to get engaged with a new group of people. I think you all have heard of Pictionary. Here's a great game for 4 or more. Just have everyone get a big sheet of paper that they can tape to the wall, or if they have an easel or something, divide up into teams, and Pictionary will give you the word and clue and start drawing. We all know how to play charades, and there's plenty of the room in the screen for our face and hands so we can play charades, and you get charades ideas on this website. Now, I'm old-fashioned, and I'm a bridge player, and I play bridge every Monday night with 3 other friends. We're all on our own laptops in our own homes, and we have our Zoom call so we can hear our voices, but then we play bridge. It actually deals for us. It allows us to keep score online, and it's a lot of fun. And the easiest game to play online, everybody, is Yahtzee. Good for any age because you can just tell everyone to get 5 dice, get them out of those old games stacked on the shelves, meet for Zoom, and you can copy the Yahtzee score sheet by typing in Yahtzee score sheet in your search, and it'll come up and you can make copies, and there's nothing easier than that. So that's it. Lots of great ideas to attend existing meetings and to come up with your own. Have fun on Zoom. Thank you, and back to you, Maureen.
Thank you, Kim. And those are such fabulous ideas. And for those of you that are watching on Facebook, Our wonderful web tech master, Rebecca Chaplin, has posted how to find the AARP Caregiver Resource Guide. So avail yourselves of that. Excellent suggestions, Kim. Well, now we'd like to invite Miranda Poe back to join us with another example of how to harness technology. And she's going to talk about FaceTime. Please tell us about that, Miranda.
Hi. Yes. So I'm here to tell you a little bit about FaceTime. I actually learned recently FaceTime is actually only for iPhone. And in order to use FaceTime, both people on the call need to have iPhones. But if you don't have an iPhone, or if someone you want to call doesn't have an iPhone, that's okay. There's lots of apps that you can use instead of FaceTime. So there's a Skype app, which you can download on any kind of phone. There's the Facebook Messenger app, which you can chat on, but then you can also, through the chat, call people. And you can call multiple people if you're in a group chat. And there's also WhatsApp, which is really wonderful for international calling if you have family or friends internationally. And it includes video calling too. And Google Duo and Google Meet are both really excellent too. And those are all apps you can download. So for FaceTime though, I'm just gonna share my screen and walk you through the steps of a call I did earlier today to my dad and grandpa. So, okay, so to place a FaceTime call, you are gonna locate the FaceTime app on your phone. There's also a FaceTime app on your computer if you have an Apple computer, which is right here. So if you're on so either way, from there, you're going to enter the name or the phone number that you want to call. So in this case, I called my dad this morning, and this will pop up, and you can either talk on audio or video. So it's up to you. And you can do either way. So it'll show you your face when you're calling the person, and it'll be ringing on their end. And like with Zoom, you can adjust your hair or anything. It's just so, and then it'll show you your face when you're getting a call on FaceTime. This is what it'll look like on the other person's end. And so you'll click the green icon with the little camera logo on it to accept the call. And then what it'll do is it'll make the person you're talking to's picture pretty big, and yours will become smaller. And if you want to turn up the volume, you can adjust on the left side of your phone the volume, and it'll turn it up or down. And this is what it will look like on the other person's end. And if you swipe up from the bottom of your screen, if you take your finger onto the bottom and move it up just a little bit, this little panel will pop up. And this offers some options for you to use. For example, there's this flip icon, and that's really cool. It allows you, if there's something going on where you are that you want to show the person that you're talking to, you can just click right on that button, and it'll flip the screen on your end. So it'll show you what you're looking at. So if you're cooking something you want to show someone, or if, you want to show someone the weather outside or an animal outside, that's a really awesome feature. And then just to turn it back, you'll just go back and just click flip again, and it'll show your face then. Also, another really great feature is the mute button, which you can just click if there's any loud noises happening. That can be really nice, so the other person doesn't have to hear that. And so that's the mute button right there. You can also add people to the FaceTime. So in this case, I wanted to add my grandpa. Or first I tried my brother, but he didn't answer, and that's okay. And then I tried my grandpa. and he answered. So now we have 3 people on the call. And once there's 3 people on the call, 1 person can leave. So here my dad left, and 2 people are still on the call. And the person can join again as long as 2 people are still on the call. And as you saw here, there's very cool effects on this effect button here that you can do Bitmoji or the different animal emojis you can make on your face. There's also cool, or you can draw on the screen. So that's really fun. And yeah, and that's what it looks like for the other person too, just for that final slide. So yeah, just some things to keep in mind too, is just to make sure your lighting is good. So make sure there's not a bright light behind you, which mine here today isn't ideal for that. Ideally, you'd have the light in front of you, so your face is visible. And then you also want to have your phone or computer pretty level with your face, so you're not looking way down or way up at it. And that's really helpful. And like I said, find a quiet place, and if you can't, just try to mute yourself when it's too loud. And I would also avoid eating while you're calling. Generally, that's really good. Yeah, that's all I have. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, Miranda, that's delightful. So for any of you watching that want to launch into trying FaceTime, it's really a lot of fun if you've got those iPhone or iPad or Apple products. Fabulous. Thank you, Miranda. And now our wonderful Victoria is going to come and talk a bit about emails and text messaging.
Yes, mainly text messaging today. But if Rebecca could put the PowerPoint on, that would be great.
Thank you.
Okay, so to start out, if you have, this is particularly for an iPhone. When you open your iPhone, you should have a bunch of different apps that are on the home screen, and you are going to look for this icon, which is the text icon. It usually reads messages underneath. And you're going to click on that. Can you go to the next slide, please? And when you open it, you will have this at the top. And what you're going to click is on the right-hand side, the little square with the pencil. And that's going to start a new text. And this is what your screen should look like after you click on that. So when you press 2, you'll be able to type in the number you want to send your text to, or if you click the little circle with the plus in the middle, it should go to your current contacts, and you'll be able to scroll through and select which one you would like to send a text to. The little bar next to the camera and the little triangle with the circle is where you type your message, and you can type as short of a message as you want and as long as a message as you want. I've seen people type paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs of text. Don't suggest that because it's a little bit of a time consumer. But you can do it if you need to. Also, the little camera will allow you to send photos if you would like. And then also there's an option if you don't want to use the keyboard, or you're busy doing something else and you need to send a quick text and you don't want to spend time sitting down on the keyboard. There's a little microphone next to the space bar on the bottom and next to the smiley face. And if you click that, it will let you, it's kind of like Siri, where you speak into it and it will type the text that you say. It's very great. I use it frequently to send longer text if I need to. And there's all kinds of options on iPhones for, you can send music, you can send gifts, you can send all kinds of different things. They are on the top of the keyboard, the different options on how to do that. But yeah, and then once you're done with the text, you send the little arrow in the circle that goes out, and yeah, it sends.
That's wonderful. And it's really very easy once you start getting the hang of it. And you can't really break it, can you, Victoria?
No. The worst you can do is send the wrong error of a spelling, or, and you just text the person, oops, I didn't mean to press that button, but it's not that big of a deal.
Right. And I'm sure this is a powerful way for the Social Bridging Project, for you as a volunteer to help an isolated senior or any other person understand that opens a whole new world, doesn't it?
Yes.
Well, especially just speaking into it is very easy.
It's so easy. It's great. And it's usually really good about punctuation. And you can also say LOL and it'll type LOL, like, laughing out loud. And it's good. It's really good.
Thank you very much, Victoria. That was really helpful. So we've already had with our panel so many great examples of great ways to harness technology for caregivers and for those who are isolated at home. And now we're going to introduce another panelist with a very specific population, and that is George Barnwell, who's an occupational therapist with the home-based primary care program at our own VA Medical Center, Charles George VA Medical Center here in Asheville. And he has a wonderful bit of information for the family caregiver program. Oh, excuse me. My eyes dropped. For the VA's technology program. I'm sorry, George. Thank you. Please share with us.
Yes, how are you doing today? I was just coming in to let everybody know about a fairly new program. We've had it in the works, but with COVID, it really exploded in use for us here, is our VA Video Connect program. It allows the practitioners to still reach out and have meaningful contact with all of our different veterans while they are in the home and unable to come in. A lot of our hospital is, we have access now to come in with 4 appointments, but family members are limited some, but just because of the COVID exposure. But our Video Connect program has been set up and working quite well to where the practitioner can connect over through a private chat room with the veteran and their family members. We can even get family members that are in other states involved with this, because if your son or daughter's across the country in Washington, but you want them involved with an important discussion with your doctor, they can be invited in. And just like this presentation is happening here, you will be able to talk to that physician, but they will be able to see you and you can see them. It is a well set up program that works off both Android and iPad or iPhone, Apple technology. The one thing, if you are using an iPhone or a iPad, you need to download an app, which they had the sheet up. There's a QR, but you can simply go to the Apple store and it's just called VA Video Connect. You download that app onto your phone, and what the practitioner will do is send you an email with a link and a time for your visit. You click here to join, and it will then open up the chat room automatically. The first time you do it, you need to allow your device to use the microphone or camera. But after that, every time will automatically open once you click that link for your appointment, and you will be set up to talk to the veteran or to the provider, and we can talk to you. I've used it many times. I do home-based primary care, so I still go out to the home, but there's just times when a veteran wants to see me on the computer instead of having to wait for me to come to their house. It can address a more immediate need that right then and there, if they need it, I can have the link to them probably within about 15 minutes and I can see them. You can communicate with any of your physicians about wanting to do this. It works best if you have a device already. If you do not, we do have a limited number of devices that we can provide to veterans that can't afford a device or have no access to Wi-Fi or a device. We can loan them out an iPad that we send out. This is, like I said, it's we have limited numbers, but first come, first serve basis. We get those out to veterans who need them. And then that does come with a limited data package just for communication back and forth with your caregiver. Streaming movies, things like that would run it out and affect your ability to get to the caregiver. But we give enough to be able to do numerous visits in the month with any caregiver you needed to. And this just is made to help open the door up for those veterans who are having difficulty because of this time seeing their provider, and keeps them in a safe and warm environment, their own home environment, so that they can address any needs they have. So.
George, this is fabulous. I have a client who is part of the home-based primary care program, and you all provided an iPad for that veteran. Suppose the vet, and this is going to hit you as an occupational therapist. A lot of veterans of a certain age right now are really intimidated by this technology. How do you all help them learn to use it?
We set up now, like I said, this is a VA-wide program, so it's not just this way, but a lot of the practitioners will attempt to do, the first time the veteran gets an iPad, we will call out to them. We will talk them through how to set up that system, and we'll give them a trial run on the phone and try and get them operating well with it. If they have a lot more difficulty after that, there's an 800 number on the back where we have tech gurus that can pretty much address any issue that if the medical provider can't get them talk through the difficulties with the tech, then the 1-800 number gets them to someone that almost always gets it done, and they actually can remote into the iPads that we provide. Now, the private devices people own, we can't do that with, but we still do an initial run to test them with it and trial it. And help them get set up.
That's a fabulous access point for veterans in the community, George. I think it's fabulous. If people wanted to get more information, and I know we had the flyer popped up, is there a specific point of contact we should direct them to?
The flyer has the apps that are available and lists out how they can test their ability to do it. Otherwise, I recommend discussing with their primary care provider, and they can get a social worker or someone in touch with that specific veteran.
That is fabulous. And so for those of you who are watching, any of the information that we're sharing, if you can enter your request for that information in the chat, Rebecca Chaplin will make sure you get the flyers or the resources that you requested. So George, anything else we should know about this program? Do you have a special success story that people could relate to?
I've had several where it's just been, I've been able to set it up and get in where people just were extremely lonely during this COVID time, weren't able to get out and felt left out of pretty much, their only contact were visits from the provider. So that allowed us to still maintain some check-ins with them and for them to have human contact. So I feel it's just, these video technologies, while we're not there, it still allows the human touch aspect of it versus more so than a phone call. People can still see each other and reach out. So I'm very impressed with that sort of aspect of this.
And I'm sure it certainly makes the veteran feel more comfortable and in touch too. And maybe not calling the hotline as much. Right.
Yes.
Well, thank you, George. That's fabulous. And please know that this is a wonderful benefit for our veterans in our community here. Well, and we're talking specifically about Western North Carolina. And
it's available nationwide, though, so it's a good setup for everybody.
Well, it's just another way that our local VA can shine, because you all do so much for our veterans here, and we're proud to be a part of the community that you serve. So thank you, George. Thanks very much.
Thank you for the time.
Oh, you're welcome. And for those of you who are viewing, please drop your questions in the chat box. We want to address those. Our next panelist is Ruth Price, and she's a family caregiver specialist with the Land of Sky Area Agency on Aging. Many of you may know her, and she is going to talk with us about the family caregiver program at Land of Sky. Now, I've gotten it in the right order. Ruth, please share with us.
Thank you, Maureen. I'm so excited to present this, but also to be with all these folks that know so much about technology. I've learned a lot already. I wanted to talk a little bit, Kim mentioned this earlier, but about our caregiver directory. It has a lot of resources for people, everything from if you have low vision, if you have hearing problems, if you need respite for your loved one. We have a list of the agencies in our area that do in-home care, that do companion care. We have a lot of wellness resources as well in this directory. Just about everything you might have a question about is in there. And if you don't find it, let me know and I'll research it, and we'll probably put it in this year's update of the directory. So I think that's just a really good resource. You can go to Land of Sky's website, look at the Family Caregiver Program, and bring this up. So, or call me or email me, and I'll be glad to help you get that directory. I also do an email. I've got almost 300 people on my list now, to caregivers each week. Or every other week, especially during COVID. I've sent out a lot of resources, and a lot of people have told me it's really important to them to be receiving that information. I wanted to talk about, we have two basic populations that we serve, two funding sources. One is we serve people who are older adults or caring for older adults, or people with dementia that can be any age. So that's one group that we work with. And our program is focused on the caregiver, which is unusual. Most programs are focused on the person who needs the care. But I'm such a firm believer in these people aren't going to get the care if we don't get the caregiver. And having been a caregiver myself, I just experience that more and more. We need to get that caregiver information and make them a partner in the care of their loved one, because they are, and we need to show that and respect that. So that's what our program really does, is we help that caregiver get what they need, resources, information, and we do have some funding to provide some respite care so that caregiver can get a break if they're eligible for that particular part of our program. The other people that we serve are kinship caregivers, and those are usually grandparents raising grandchildren. There's particularly a need right now in our community because, and I like this idea, it takes a village to care for grandparents and grandchildren. Kind of stole that from my niece, who's helping us care for her grandparents. But also there's a lot of grandchildren out there who are being raised by their grandparents. And so I do an email for them also every week or every other week, trying to connect them with resources. We also have some respite funding for kinship caregivers, which could be paying for a daycare center. It could be paying for camps. Right now we're doing a lot with internet, because so many grandparents are at home now with their children who aren't able to go to school or are only going part of the time. And their internet bills have really been increased, even though the schools are trying to help them. We have one caregiver who's in a rural area, and she has to use satellite. That is the only way to get a connection that has enough ability to really serve what the school is asking those children to do. So we can help with some of those internet costs. We also, with some of the kinship caregivers, help them get things like furniture. I mean, maybe yesterday that was just them and their spouse, and suddenly now they have 3 children who they need beds, they need dressers. So we can help with some of those things as well. We are developing a resource book for them, the kinship caregivers. So just like the caregiver directory, we want to get a lot of resources out to them as well. There are support groups for kinship caregivers, as well as for people caring for an older adult or someone with dementia. So I do have a list of those. I think my contact information was up earlier. I'm glad to get information to you, and I'm very fortunate to have Ann Wisenhunt is helping me, particularly with the kinship program. And I have a couple of other associates doing things like powerful tools for caregivers, and Kim Dickens, who you met earlier, helped with that, a Zoom class. And also Pat Hilgendorf does a lot with caregiver support programs in our area and helps me update the caregiver directory. So I'm just excited to be doing this and to get the word out about the many resources that are available in their community for caregivers. Oh, and one other thing I want to mention is the CARES Act, which is specific to COVID and the pandemic. We were funded, we got quite a bit of additional funding, and a lot of that has gone out to providers. We cover Buncombe, Madison, Henderson, and Transylvania County. So I have providers in each of those counties that are using that funding. A lot of it's going to respite, but it's going to information assistance and other services. So we do have more funding right now. And so we are getting, especially for those caregivers who more than ever are trying to keep their loved ones at home so they don't go in a facility, many of them are benefiting from that additional respite funding. So, okay.
Ruth, that's fabulous. And these two programs are real hallmarks of what the Land of Sky is doing there. Is there any cost to caregivers? Does it cost them anything to access any of these programs?
No, there's no cost. But since you mentioned cost, caregiving costs caregivers a tremendous amount of money. And it's something that we're gradually seeing addressed. And we do try to offset that tremendous cost that many caregivers are paying, either with reduced work hours, maybe having to quit a job, and maybe their loved one can't afford. They may be caring for a parent who can't afford all of the things they need, and that caregiver is purchasing those. So part of our program is helping them. We particularly focus on people who are low income and or have maybe a lot of limit in terms of their resources to address the needs of their loved ones. So it's not just income based, but we do really try to offset some of those really high costs that they are bearing. But it doesn't cost anything. Our consultation, our resources, information, all of that is at no cost, and it does not cost anything if they get a grant for respite. Good question.
Wonderful. And I want all of those of you who are listening to notice that this department is a source of resources for you. Lots of great resources, regardless of the cost situation. They know what's out there in the community. So give Ruth and her team a call. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, we've had so much to share with you all. I mean, this has been a lot to really help you to kickstart our program on harnessing tech to connect. And this session was called "You Are Not Alone." And we've seen that a lot of you've been online. So I want to just, if you have any questions, type them in. I have one more to kick out to Kim. So if you'll queue up Kim. In the chat, you can see that Rebecca Chaplin has put her email. If you want to have any of the resources that have been listed here, please email her. Any of the flyers on the VA Connection or the Social Bridging Project or anything that Ruth has shared with the kinship program and the resource directory, please email Rebecca and she will make sure that you get access to those pieces of information. So Kim, all of those wonderful games that you shared, I'm going to come at you with the same question that I just shared with Ruth. Is there any cost for any of those online games?
There was no cost for the basic application, for example, on my bingo cards, but you can make fancier bingo cards and dress it up some, and there was a cost for that. For the rest of the websites, the charades, for the trivia, for the categories, that was all free. So the whole idea is have your friends or family Zoom meetings set up and then bring that up. But you probably should explore first by bringing that game up and just seeing how it works. And they should be great. It's just a great way, especially when we're talking about grandparents and grandchildren, a way to connect when we're not able to give hugs to some of those loved family members. Nothing better than playing a simple game of Yahtzee or Pictionary online.
Perfect. Thank you, Kim. And that's just so helpful. So so Rebecca's, our wonderful tech master, is going to be putting our panel back in the video. And I'm going to ask Ruth to share something here. Oh, someone's asking about how to connect with the Social Bridging Project. And if you can email Rebecca. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier, but email our chaplain at aarp.org. It's in the chat, and she can get that flyer to you. But there it is. Thank you. That's how you get it. Thanks, Rebecca. Just go ahead and email the Social Bridge at unca.edu. Wonderful program. Thank you. Great. And for the home-based, for the VA Video Connect, just to be clear, George Barnwell, who shared with us about that program, he works with that through the home-based primary care program. But if any of you are providing care for veterans, or you are a veteran who's online right now, please talk with your primary care provider through the VA system, and that clinic will get you the information you need for the VA Video Connect. George works specifically with the home-based primary care program. So just want to be clear about that. We don't want to put you in an awkward position, George, because we appreciate you sharing with us. All right. Great questions. What other questions do you have out there? This has been quite a broad survey, and hopefully it's teasing your taste buds a bit for what else we're going to be sharing with you. So I want to remind everyone that this is a 3-part series. This is the first of 3 parts. And our next program will be next Thursday, November 12th, also at 1:30. And that session is called Technology for Home Safety. You're going to see many wonderful demonstrations of technology, specific uses of technology to improve your home safety for you as a caregiver and your loved one. So make sure to join in for that as well. Ruth, would you like to share with us about our evaluation survey? Or actually, excuse me, Rebecca's going to send, I got that backwards, y'all, forgive me, information to those of you who've registered for today to give us some evaluation feedback. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you. Well, it's always good to give a gift of time. So we're going to give you a gift back of 8 minutes. Thank you all for joining us. I know some of you are going to be viewing this later, and the invitation still exists to email Rebecca for any of the resources. We're glad that you've joined us. And if you have any feedback that you would like to share with us to help us improve these programs moving forward, please let us know. So we hope to see you next week. And so thanks to our wonderful panel. Bless you all. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye-bye.